Okay, and then this is with the lav mic. Probably looks freaking dumb. What's up guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's been over a year now, I think, since I've actually filmed content, and man, I have missed YouTube and filming content. So I'm really excited to be filming content again for you guys. And I have a whole lot coming up, and a lot has happened over the last year. So we're gonna get into a little bit more detail on that later. But for now, what I wanted to get into was actually working on some cars, getting this garage set up. So as you can see behind me, we have a completely different garage from what we had before. And so I'm gonna give you guys a tour of the garage, show you what we got going on, what's gonna change, what's gonna happen in this video. And then later on, we'll talk more about kind of what's been going on behind the scenes and what I've been working on. Another thing that I want to say is that I'm so grateful for all of you guys that have been watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, and encouraging me to make more content. I'm just blown away by, the response on YouTube and just in general, how much fun it is, and the fact that, other people are willing to listen and watch and kind of contribute to the conversation or to the end goal. And that is to, make awesome content and have fun doing it. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support on the YouTube channel. A lot of the previous videos that I did were actually kind of almost like a trial run just to see how it would work out and how I liked it and how to kind of get the process down. And so because of the feedback on YouTube, a lot of that has kind of led me now to changing things around, like acquiring this garage so that I can make more content, have, more cars in here. This garage is also heated, which is a huge bonus. That's like massive. So up here, we're in Canada and it's cold all the time. And so having a heated garage is a must if you want to be able to work on cars in the winter or in Canada and at all. So yeah, I'm just super stoked on being able to make content again and have this amazing space where I can do that. And so right now it's a huge mess. So let's go on a little tour here. So once again, I want to give my heartfelt appreciation to you guys for watching and doing all the things. If you're new here, my name is Faraz, also known as Fizzo, and let's go on a tour on the garage and I will show you what we got going on. All right, so let's start with a little bit of an overview of the garage to kind of give you guys a full sort of 360-degree view, and then we will kind of go into each section individually and kind of explain what my thoughts are for each area. So here we have the main man door, and then to the left here we have a full workbench setup. So this wooden workbench here on the left came with the garage, and then this workbench here is my own personal one that I had from before, and then this here is kind of like a rolly table thing that's upright, and it happens to just fit like perfectly up until the door, just about right there. So that's pretty cool. That's this wall. We also have some stuff hanging on the wall there. This garage also has like an air hose reel kind of at the back there, which probably going to move closer to the ceiling just so it's not in the way. And then moving to the middle of the garage here, we have the Mark II. So this is a 1990 Volkswagen Jetta two-door with a VR6 swap. And so in another video, I'm going to go over this car completely from front to back and kind of share with you guys everything that I've worked on that car, the engine swap, the suspension, like everything. We'll go over that. And sort of, I also need to rebuild kind of the whole car and go over the whole thing and redo a lot of things because I built it quite a while ago now. And also the VR6 needs a timing chain. So needless to say, it's a lot of work. So the whole car is pretty much going to get sort of torn apart and rebuilt. So that will be kind of a upcoming series. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So if you want to see more Mark II content, hit the subscribe button. Up there we have just some junk. So this is a fire pit that's pretty much going to go, and the rest is pretty much just like empty boxes. And then we have the door, and then above the door we actually have a TV that came with the garage. So I don't have it hooked up yet and I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know even if it works. However, I did pick up like an HDMI cable chilling over there, so we'll get that set up. To the right of the door we have the front of the garage. So over here we have a workbench that was included with the garage. It's all built in, really awesome setup. And so kind of over here, we got like this little corner deal, and I'm not really sure what this was used for. Like this garage, as far as I know, was used for like building theater equipment, I'm told. So I have no idea what stuff was used for, but this I find to be kind of a nice area maybe to put like camera gear. I got like a little speaker back there. So we got this set up, and I'm not sure how I'm going to set it up yet, but for now I kind of have the laptop over here, and I think I'm going to move that, but Nothing here is set in stone. So every single thing that you see is probably gonna move really, except for the toolboxes. And I'll show you where I think I'm gonna put the laptop. I think I have a better idea in mind. So we got the good old open sign, got a couple of windows there, so we get some natural light. And then we have the main workbench here. This is probably where the main general work will happen. And it's a really large surface, and it's a really good setup. So I'm pretty stoked on kind of the workbench that came with this setup. And then of course down here we have our garbage and recycling, we got our jack, and we got the toolboxes. One of the things that we're going to be doing in this video is completely redoing everything, like reorganizing everything. So kind of the whole reason that we're here is because I actually moved from my old place. So I had a single garage before. It was a really good setup. It was attached to the house, so it was like partly heated. It was heated enough to be able to do work in the cold weather. However, it was very limited on space. So I got the opportunity to snag this heated garage, which I'm super stoked about. And I guess I lucked out maybe because the location is really good. It's heated, it's lots of space, and it's got the freaking workbenches, dude. Like you can't really ask for, more workbench than that. And not to mention this workbench over here too. So yeah, pretty freaking awesome deal. And so because I moved here, or when I moved here, what ended up happening was all my belongings got sort of dumped in here without any organization. And I've actually already cleaned up quite a bit. However, as you can see, there's a whole cluttery mess over there, and mess over there, tools over there, bicycle and random stuff over there. So the goal is to organize the whole garage and get everything set up in their respective locations. Tools are going to go in the toolbox, and then we have this area here in the corner. So this area here is what I'm calling the chill zone. So this is going to be the hangout area, chill zone, whatever you want to call it. And this area is also going to maybe have a little office in here. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to set up like a table or a desk in this corner here, put the laptop on that, and then have an actual like working desk, have like a chair, and make it cozy. And then I also have a carpet there, a rug. So that rug will go in here, and that'll make it a lot more cozy and fill up most of the space, or at least the floor. I also have a couple of really nice comfy chairs that are going to go in there as well. So that's kind of the general gist of that. And then also we're going to be doing a bunch of lighting mods. I don't know if you can call them mods, but so right now I just have kind of some Christmas lights up there. I've got the open sign up there. And then I also have some more Christmas lights and some other lights that we're going to be doing as well. So as of now, we got 2700K lighting. It's comfy for inside the house, but for working in a garage, you want something more like a white light, kind of like that little LED there. So we're gonna be switching out all these lights with 5000K. So I actually got some lighting I scored these little LED bulbs. So it's like a floodlight bulb, and it's got color changing ability. So I was gonna try Wi-Fi bulbs, but I don't actually have Wi-Fi here because this is actually a rental unit. So can't really do Wi-Fi, but I did find those colored bulbs, so we can do color, and also we can switch between like 2700K all the way up to 5000K. So we've got different white light settings. This will be the chill zone. The lighting will be like chill and awesome in here. We'll have the computer in here. We'll probably have like a speaker and a heater to make things even more cozy, and a couple of nice chairs. So that's the goal for this area here. Then over here we have what I'm calling Zone Mark II. So Zone Mark II will have the Mark II in it. And because of this corner frickin' partition-y thing, it takes away a lot of space from the other half of the garage here. So my thoughts is that I have these vehicle dollies right here, and I'm gonna put the Mark II on those and scoot the car over diagonally into the corner like this. And then this, so let's go over here. So this is the Mark II area, and also car parts. So here we have this wooden shelf. So this wooden shelf here, I'm gonna move to the corner because right now it's kind of in the way. And then I have another metal shelf chilling right down there. And that's gonna be assembled and be put right beside the wooden shelf. So we'll have a wood shelf in the corner over here, and then we'll have the metal shelf in the corner beside it. And so we should have like a little corner shelf deal, which will open up space here. And then we can put the Mark II diagonally here. That is the idea anyways. So in general, here's my thoughts. So going back to the far corner over there with the other workbench. So over there, I'm gonna put consumables. So paint, oils, sprays, cleaners, all that kind of stuff is going to go along that wall. And then on this wall here, the tools are going to go all over there. So anything that's tool related will go on the, I guess you could call it the tool wall or the workbench wall. And then that will kind of keep everything together and in its place, easy to access. And then we'll have the chill zone, and then we'll have the Mark II zone. And then this corner here will be all like car part storage. So as of now, we have some car parts on the shelf. That's like some extra household stuff, camping gear. A lot of that stuff can actually go up on top of the loft there. There's space in between the ceiling and that, so there's a loft up there that we can use for storage. So a lot of the like camping gear, household stuff, extra items that we won't be needing access to regularly will go up top. And then the goal is to use both these shelves purely for car parts. Like this is like car part central, and then the Mark II, and then this chair, there's another chair hidden right there. So these two chairs will go in the chill zone, and then that'll free up a ton of space over here. And then we got some wheels and tires. Wheels and tires will probably be stored also kind of in this corner region, I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure how it'll fit all together with the Mark II here and the shelf in the corner, but that remains to be determined. Here we got a set of 19-inch New Speed RS wheels. Then we got A5 wheels, which are kind of the factory wheels for an A5, but they fit perfectly on my A4. So that's kind of my backup set. And then we got just kind of some more like household stuff. We got some more car parts. And then we have a tire loft. Oh yeah, so the tire loft will probably be, it'll be for a set of wheels or tires, but that can only fit one set. So we'll have to make use of that on the wall. And then the other two sets or whatever can go on the floor. We got some car parts, Audi parts. We got more Audi parts, the brooms, all that stuff. And so we actually have an air hose coming down here too. So I think the compressor previously was hanging out over here. And then we got a power outlet right there as well. Now the other thing, I also have this whiteboard that came with the garage. So this whiteboard is 6 feet by 4 feet, which would pretty much perfectly fit thereabouts. But then I want to hang the tire loft too. So with my measurements, the tire loft and the whiteboard is a little bit, it's like almost over that white plug. So I'm not sure if that'll fit perfectly, but that remains to be seen. And yeah, so this is the Mark II zone. Oh, I didn't even turn on this light. So I got one more light here. So right now the lighting it's all right. Like it's not super amazing. However, I'm definitely gonna switch that out for some 5000K, and that way we'll get a little bit more awake in here. Yeah, so that's pretty much for over here. So what I'm gonna do is, I've been meaning to film this video for so long, and I'm glad that it's finally happening. And so what I'm gonna do now is throw the time lapse on and go to town on this and get everything organized and set up. If you guys have any ideas on how to organize stuff or like shop setup stuff, if you see anything that you think that I should do or whatever, suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. So originally I was gonna do a brighter light bulb and a dimmer switch, and they actually make the same brand, EcoSmart, from Home Depot. They make one that has, you can switch it between 2700K, 5000K, and like 3 other ones in between. So it's got 5 white color temperature settings. But then I was at Home Depot and I saw these guys, and I wanted to do like color changing smart light bulbs, but I don't have Wi-Fi here, so that was kind of out of the question. But then when I went to Home Depot, I saw these bros here, and it's got a remote control, which hopefully I will never lose it. But yeah, this will allow me to change between like 2700K, 3000, and so on, all the way up to 5000K. So we can have a little bit more whiter of a light in here when we're doing work. And then if we really want to kind of tone it down, we can turn the color temperature down. So we'll see how these guys work. I only have 2 of them for this side of the garage, and I think on the other side I might do like a dimmer bulb for now, but we'll see. This might be kind of changed multiple times. So, and then we got Christmas lights here, which I think just added a total vibe. So we're gonna put the rest of these bros up here somewhere, and then that will make the lighting in here like way more cool. Actually, f it, let's just do this right now. Oh, sick. Dude, you can switch colors. That's pretty cool. Okay. It's definitely brighter than before. Huh. Right on. All right. Well, that's one done. Let's see if we can do that one again. I'll try that one more time. I got a little more intention than that. Sick. Ha. Now we got colored bulbs. Let's go.
First glance, I don't see anything, but the O-ring definitely looks like squared off or a little bit flattened. Let's take the whole thing off. Oh, that came off again easier than I thought. So there it is there. So I think this is the culprit, but not the sensor itself, but this O-ring. It's definitely kind of squared off. So it should protrude sort of past this metal here so that it can actually seal, but I think it's just worn in enough that it's, oh yeah, it feels pretty hard too. It doesn't want to bend much. Feels pretty brittle, to be honest, but could that be it? Could this thing be letting liters and gallons of coolant out? Because when it's pressurized, this is the area that receives the hottest coolant right off the back of the block here. And this then there's a hose that goes down to the heater core, which is where you want the most heat. So I will order another one of those. Now, I don't think this sensor has an issue at all. I mean, it does actually work just fine, but I guess it has been overheated and whatever too, because of this area getting a lot of air. So when the coolant leaks, it was kind of like steaming out from this port. So it's losing coolant from this area first, and then this sensor is reading super hot on the dash. So might as well replace it, I think. But so far I think it's that O-ring, but perhaps I'll dig a little deeper. I mean, I'll replace that for sure, since now I took it out, and then it'll be easy enough to figure out if that's gonna leak later. So yeah, let's replace that sensor and O-ring.
Okay, so I think I know what's going on now. So this right here is the aluminum coolant flange that's bolted onto the back of the head. And I replaced this, I replaced the previous coolant flange, which is the factory plastic one, with this aluminum one. And that was only 30,000 kilometers ago. So I replaced this coolant flange as well as the hose that attaches to the coolant flange. So that would be this guy right here. And then this up here is that aluminum coolant flange. So I replaced both of these parts 30,000 kilometers ago, and I thought that at first that it was this hose that failed. And if you look right there, it almost looks like there's a crack in the plastic, but it turns out, at least from what I can tell, that that's actually just the way the plastic is molded. And so I think the hose is actually fine. There was a coolant on the hose, which made it look like that was the failure point. But I think what it is if you can see all this coolant coming off the side of this coolant flange here, that's like dried up coolant dust. Obviously the coolant is coming from up here. So I think the reason why is because the factory coolant flange that's made out of plastic is more insulating than this aluminum one, and I think the aluminum one is keeping too much heat trapped inside of it, and it's not sort of dissipating that heat through the coolant. And I'm guessing that because of that, it's causing this O-ring to sort of square off and form to the shape of that housing, which is that sort of square shape. And you can see that O-ring has sort of flattened on all four corners there. So I'm pretty sure that's why. After only 30,000 kilometers, you should not have a failure like this on an O-ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to I'm going to order this sensor with the O-ring that comes with it, and then we'll put that guy in there, and that will hopefully buy us, 20, 30,000 K. And in that time, or as soon as possible, I will see if I can figure out a Teflon or silicone or some kind of high temp O-ring maybe to replace, so that we can avoid replacing the aluminum coolant flange with the plastic one. Worst case, I do have a plastic one sitting on the shelf, a brand new backup one that I ended up not using. So we can always toss that guy in there with a new temp sensor, and then it'll all be factory, which I am willing to bet would last longer than the aluminum one, just because it's heating up this O-ring, and I'm thinking it's sort of melting it to that shape. So yeah, I'm going to order that sensor and toss it in there, and we'll fill up the coolant, start it up, bleed out that air, and see if we can get this thing to maintain coolant pressure again. And then if it does, then we know that this O-ring melted, and then I can go and see if I can find an O-ring that matches. And I also want to use this O-ring that comes with the sensor to use as a reference to match the new one. I also found the temp sensor, the O-ring, and the coolant sensor clip in stock locally at Concept One. So big ups to Concept One for having this stuff on the shelf. And if you guys need any parts in Calgary or Canada or in the US even, they ship, I think, all over the place. So not sponsored, but again, big ups to Concept One for having all the goodies in stock. All right, so we managed to get everything shuffled around and got the Mark II over into the corner over there, and got the Audi pulled into the garage. So now both cars are successfully in here, but as you can see, it is still a freaking mess over here. So I ended up just moving the pile of stuff from this corner into the chill zone for now, and we're gonna have to go back and organize that later. And then of course the tools will come after that. But I also, while I was working, I noticed that obviously this corner over here is a lot dimmer than this corner over here because of the different light bulb. So this light bulb on the left here is an 800 lumen light bulb 5000K, and then this one on the right is 1200 lumens, 5000K set right now. I don't know if you can tell, but on the left side here, the light is shining onto the ceiling and onto the wall more, and then on the right side, the light is aimed more downward. So there's less light on the ceiling and less light on the walls, which I kind of like the light output on the left side kind of more spread out, but I feel like it's more efficient with it going straight down. So I ended up picking another light bulb up for this corner here. So I have another one of these guys here, and I really like these because you don't have to crawl up there to change the light temperature settings, and also you can change the colors. So this is kind of the next best thing to have versus an actual Wi-Fi smart light bulb. In the house I use Wiz connected bulbs, which I really like, and then of course there's the Philips Hue, but out here with no Wi-Fi it wouldn't really work. So I ended up going with these EcoSmart, and I believe they're Bluetooth powered, and I can connect one remote to all three bulbs if I want to, but then I can't change the colors individually. So that's kind of the only downside, is that now I have these two remotes and then we'll add a third one. So we'll have three remotes, and I was almost thinking of maybe taking some magnets and kind of sticking them over here next to the other lights. And then if they have magnets, then you can stick them on the door or on, you know, the toolbox or whatever to kind of spread out those remotes. So the lighting situation is a little bit better. And the other thing too is I don't want to make it too permanent, just because this is a rental unit and I could install some stuff a little bit more permanent. There are like LED light fixtures that you can do and all kinds of different things. So I was thinking of maybe like on this side, I definitely need more light. So I kind of tossed a battery light up there just for now, but I definitely want to add some kind of panel light, or kind of like the fluorescent style, but the newer LED type ones, just to get more lighting on the workbench here. And so not sure what I'm going to do there yet, but if you guys have any suggestions on garage lighting, definitely let me know. I definitely like lighting a lot, in case you couldn't tell. So yeah, and then on this corner, I just have that little purple bulb in there, and what I want to do is actually drop a line down from the top into the chill zone, so we can actually have a light bulb that's usable over there. And then if we need light up top, grab a flashlight or whatever, and or maybe add a bulb up top. I'm not sure yet, but I don't need to access up there as much, so I think it'd be a lot more useful if I drop that light bulb down into this area here. So far, I accomplished the goal of getting the car in here, so that's good. And we figured out last night that the O-ring that was in that sensor housing was kind of squared off. So I went and picked up some more. Again, shout out to Concept One for having these bad boys in stock. I will leave this here so that in case you guys need anything, you can get them. And then here we have one temperature sensor, and I ended up picking up a bunch of extra O-rings and clips just in case. I'll have these, and I'll hopefully keep them in a safe place and never lose them, because that's never happened before. But you know, at least I have them. All right, let's open these, shall we? So right here we got our water temp sensor. It's even sealed, look at that. So you know it's OG. Our new sensor, and there's the old one. And then what I wanted to, oh yeah, this O-ring is so, and we have our extra ones, and we have an extra clip. So old clip, new clip. So if you look at the O-ring, once again, completely square, and when you try to squeeze it, it also feels pretty brittle and hard. And then this one is just nice and flexible and round as well. So this is how it should be. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the leak. That's a pretty telltale sign that that O-ring is not going to seal properly anymore, even if you hold them together. It feels like this one is smaller. If you were to try to measure them, that one has shrunk for sure to actually measure them. I don't know why I'm actually going into this much detail here, but I feel like it. So you will get to see what the hell is causing this problem. So 27.44. So I'm just going to leave the caliper set there. It's a little bit less. But then again, this is there. If I squeeze it, it's It's just about 27 mil, we'll say. 27.00. If I put that one in there, you can see there's quite a gap. So the caliper is set to 27 mil, and you can just see the difference in the size there. So if we measure, then again, this is also deformed slightly, but it's about 26 mil. So it's actually shrunk by about 1 millimeter, which I would say is enough to cause a leak. But to have that big of a leak from a 1 millimeter change of an O-ring, like, that just goes to show you how such little things can cause such big problems. So I just did this kind of for the sake of my own knowledge, just to compare the difference. That's a really good angle, so you can see the flat versus the round. So I don't know, I just think that's super cool to see the difference. So anyway, let's go put the new stuff in, fix that leak.
Major pain in the arse. Get it back in there. But pretty sure it's in there now. Sensor is now installed. It's plugged in right there. You can see the green just underneath. All ready to go. Now I gotta fill it with coolant, start it up and bleed the air out, and then see how it does. Got my 50-50 premix jug. I'm gonna mix it right next to a keyboard, because that's super smart. But hey, sometimes it be like that. And now, this I could probably fill to about yay. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I just started it and the cooling fans came on right away at startup. So a brief Google search told me that it could be because the coolant temp sensor is bad, and because I just replaced it, I was thinking maybe I didn't plug it in. The other thing is that it did have an overheat scenario at one point where the temp went really high, and so I'm thinking maybe the ECU tipped a code which is telling the fans to turn on because it thinks it's overheating still. So I'm going to start it up again, see if the fans come on for the second time, and if they do, I will read the codes and see what they tell us. So let's start it again. Huh. Oh. Yeah. Cooling fans are running for some reason. I'm sure you can hear that. Full speed. Alright, well, that's not supposed to be happening, so let's see if there's any codes. Okay, so secondary air injection, we already knew about that one. Catalyst system bank, already knew about that. Secondary injection, already knew about that. Engine temperature too low. Interesting, I thought the engine temp would be too high because it overheated. Engine temperature too low. Anyhow, that might do something. So anyways, erasing clears all. Yes, please. Thinking. Erase successful. No powertrain, DTCs. The codes are clear. Ignition off. Scanner plugged. No check engine light. Now we wait for a second. Well, no fans. So yeah, that makes sense.
You sure about that?
Because it must have I don't know why it said engine temperature is too low. Maybe it fried the sensor and then it didn't get a reading, and then it was just like thinking that it was too cold. But then why would the fans spin up if it thinks the engine's too cold? You think it would do the opposite. You think it would only spin the fans if it thought the engine was too hot. So like, what? Chime in the comments if you know what the hell, because I'm sure some of you do. You technicians out there, tell me what the hell that's about. All right, cool. So I think we're good. Now we just got to let it warm up, check for leaks, but first I'm gonna let it run and sort of see if any more air comes out of this, and then seal up the cap, and then go for a little drive. It's also burning off that excess coolant that was stuck to the exhaust, I'm sure. It smells a little burny. The sensor seems to be looking good. Okay, so far so good. So what I'm gonna do is toss the cap on, take the coolant with me, go for a little drive, watch the temperature, make sure it's all good, and then top it up if needed. And hopefully we're all good here. All right, let's go for a cruise. All right, test drive was a success, and the coolant level did go down a little bit from the max line there. But it did start heating up pretty quick. It started giving me heat right away, so that tells me that it has bled most of the air out of the system, and obviously some of the air has now ended up in the reservoir. So I'm going to let it cool down a little bit, and then top the coolant back up, and then it'll be on to the oil change and some of the other maintenance stuff. So yeah, pretty happy about that. It's kind of funny because like I was saying about how cheap the O-ring is compared to how big the problem is, I ended up going through so much coolant, and I spent way more in coolant than I did on the freaking O-ring to fix it. So it kind of feels stupid, just didn't have the garage space to do it. So anyway, I'm glad that that's done, and now for $1.50 essentially for the O-ring. So I was just looking at this O-ring again, and I was messing around with it, and it actually broke open, and I was looking at it, and it's completely cracked all the way around. I mean, no surprises there, but again, it shouldn't do that after 30,000 K, so I think it's because of the aluminum coolant flange. And I haven't found any Teflon, or I haven't looked yet for any Teflon high temp units yet, and I just got these as, you know, I just got extras of these, so I have spares. But I mean, it's cool to see the actual failure point, and it helps me think that this is actually the issue and that it's not going to happen again, because I've been plagued with coolant leaks for so long. I thought it was the thermostat housing, but nope, just this little temp sensor O-ring. Yeah. Way better, so much brighter. Okay, so we can go different color temperatures. I think that's the 5,000. 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's the lowest. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the bluest. Still filming. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna start sweeping up what's there on the shelf. Oh shit, look how much room we got. So we got that shelf moved over into the corner now. I took 14 screws to hold that down, so that ain't going nowhere, gotta say it. So yeah, right up against the wall, I got it screwed into this 2x4 right on the wall there, and of course the 2x4 is at the back. And then now we have this whole triangle right here where the car can kind of whoop, slide over, and that will take up some of this room here. And then maybe I can leave like a little access point to get in, or I was thinking of maybe leaving some space at the back there so you can kind of like walk around the car and access the storage, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet how we're gonna do that. It'd probably be easier on this side just because it's right in the middle. as opposed to going like all the way around. But I think regardless, when the car is slid over, there'll still be like lots of room over here, and then of course there'll be lots of room over here. And now, of course, the mess from the shelf has all ended up over here, but that is all gonna go back on the shelf in a more organized manner. So this is a pile of car parts. These parts are mostly gonna go back on. Some of this stuff's like household extra stuff that'll go up on the loft there. And now that I have this shelf, I can easily climb it and access up here. So this is the little loft area. There's just some boxes and some travel bags, a random tire. This shelf is pretty interesting the way they did it with like a half top shelf, because it actually works even better over here in the corner. So yeah, so here's the view from up top. Freaking mess. But now that the shelf's over here, we can start putting stuff back together and putting things into their final home. So this is here now. So I'm gonna start putting stuff back on the shelf in a more organized way, kind of think through what I'm doing, and then the metal shelf will eventually go right there. That's kind of the plan. And that should go, it's 4 feet wide, so it'll go till about where that seam on the wall there is, where that piece of plywood starts, I think is approximately where the shelf will end up. And from over here, it just seems like so much more room has been unlocked. I'm not quite sure why that shelf was on this side here, but it makes way more sense over there. Like I could even add, if I wanted to, I could put that metal shelf here to make like a full shelf. But for the sake of the car being here, I think I'm gonna go with the corner style. But man, oh man, it just feels like so much more roomy over here. That's sweet. Also got that light bulb changed out there, so we got more lighting over here now. So the lighting is a lot more even and spread out, so much better than before.
I'll add context later, I guess. Oh my god. Okay, I think you can see most of what's happening here. Vacuuming on top of the loft. Ugh. And I have very little space. I almost didn't record it. Alright. I'm on top of the chill zone / office. And I wanted to put some stuff up here, but it was dusty, and so I figured I would just vacuum it and get it at least half decent up here. And to be honest, this looks like a friggin' bed platform. It almost looks like someone used to live up here, but maybe just storage. I'm just gonna store some stuff up here. Definitely not gonna sleep up here. So at least now this area is clean, so I can put some boxes up here and not have like sawdust all over the place. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna bring some boxes up here now. But I wasn't even gonna vacuum it or film it, so I don't know, just thought I'd throw this in there. So let's review what's going on up here. It's just like plywood. There's this little platform thing, and then what looks like could be a bed platform or something. And then this is just an extra shelf that was in the garage, and I don't have anywhere else to put it, so I just kind of shoved it up here. It kind of fits perfectly, so it doesn't really take up space. It kind of just acts as a separation partition for this area, I guess. So I don't know what else to do with it, so I'm just gonna leave it there for now. And the messy ass garage from up here, I won't show too much because I gotta clean all that up, but I keep cleaning. So right now this place is super duper dusty. As you can see, there's just dust everywhere, all over the ground. So, and a big cobweb there. So as you can see, this place has not been cleaned in a little bit. So we're gonna time lapse and get all this stuff cleaned up. So this is that little room in the corner. And let's vacuum it up, sweep it, get it cleaned up. And then we can start setting up this area, which I'm super excited about.